to be young and broke. I've got the vision and don't know anybody who works harder than me. If only I had some more
money. Ni te mueva, arriba la mano, ni te mueva. Te veo ahí haciendo películas, gringo. Sé que tú tienes dinero.
Once again, my name is Ben Woner. I hope you enjoyed my short film on YouTube, Quiubo Gringo, or What's Up Gringo. I invite you to watch that before continuing with this video. I'm crowdfunding in order to realize the full story version of Quiubo Gringo. And in this video, I'll describe the major differences between that full story and the YouTube short. I'll also discuss what the full story offers, both artistically and commercially. And lastly, in a walk through the park, I'll briefly touch on my background and how I've gotten into filmmaking in the past year. So the biggest difference between the YouTube short and the full story of Quiubo Gringo would be the passion between the mother and son for nature and palm trees that culminates in the creation of this company, Passion Tree Hard Seltzer. I developed this plot for the short version in order to give it more of a definitive beginning, middle, and end, while hinting at the full story and what it's really all about. I also wanted to bring in Passion Tree, a real company doing great things in Southern California, in order to give the short better promotion. But no such company exists in the full story script in its current version. If you're curious why the mother's character was killed off in the short and whether she still dies in the full story, you'll just have to wait and see. The full story of Quiubo Gringo is an adventure tale that takes us all throughout the Americas. Blended in are elements of comedy, romance, action, drama, and suspense. The story centers on Bradford Palmer, a young elitist New York financier whose inner circle turns against him when they see an opportunity to steal his family's money from him. This conspiracy traps him in the foreign country of Colombia, where he has his identity stolen and is left destitute. In order to get back on his feet, Bradford Palmer must embrace the foreign culture he finds himself in and learn lessons in humility, faith, and family, which give him a new lease on life. The third and final act sees fate force Bradford Palmer to confront those who conspired against him and exact his revenge. In Bildungsroman fashion, he must reconcile his past life in New York with his new one in Colombia. Artistically, Quiubo Gringo is a strong presentation of the hero's journey. Bradford Palmer begins the story as a privileged Upper East Sider who looks down on the working class his family employs, many of whom are Latinos. Ironically, it's the warmth in the Latino culture that proves to be this character's saving grace. While in Colombia, Bradford Palmer encounters several inspiring individuals who give him the helping hand he needs when he really has nothing to offer in return. Just to name a few, there's Gustavo, a hilarious Guatemalan trucker, whose comedy was represented by the uncle in the short. There's also an old Paisa couple who nurse Bradford back to health from injury. And there's Andres, a boxing black caleño who teaches Bradford self-defense. Andres' character is also a homosexual who embodies the virtue of grace as he continuously demonstrates his virtue towards those who oppose him for his sexuality. And on the other hand, several of the Colombian characters really grow as well once they learn not to judge Bradford for what he looks like. In addition to those previously mentioned, there are several other dynamic and impactful characters with whom audiences of all walks of life will be able to relate. They coherently come in and out of the narrative in a fashion similar to a Dostoevsky novel. Through these characters, Quiubo Gringo offers beautiful artistic messages like don't judge a book by its cover, we all have something to teach one another, and change within a person is possible. I desire for these positive messages to reach as wide of an audience as possible, and I want to highlight one feature which will allow for this mass appeal: the telenovela feel of the story in certain parts. Novellas with exceptional storylines have seen global success time and time again in the past 2 decades, being dubbed into foreign languages or readapted to new productions. In particular, the Asian, Middle Eastern, and Latin American markets share a strong preference for this format. I'm thinking of productions like Colombia's Betty la Fea, which was actually readapted in my own country as Ugly Betty. I'm also thinking of Harçay, a dizi, Turkey's form of dramatic programming, which is currently being syndicated by major channels all throughout Latin America and in my own country under Telemundo. The presentations of love and faith in Quiubo Gringo carry a strong novella feel, which will tap into this popular cross-cultural market. In addition, I've begun studying Mandarin over the past year, and have 2 Chinese-speaking friends very excited to help me create a version of Quiubo Gringo for that audience. And I believe that will only be the beginning of bringing this story to a worldwide level. Nevertheless, the story has a fast American pacing, which will keep entertaining those audiences who maybe don't speak Spanish and aren't especially enamored by novellas. To reintroduce myself, my name is Ben Wona. I'm 25 years old, born in the Bronx, but grew up mostly in Westchester, New York. This film is my first endeavor into the arts, as I grew up an athlete who wanted to play soccer professionally before injury and a bad surgical result ended those plans. In college, my best friend brought me on vacation to Colombia with his family after our freshman year. I was fascinated by the culture and came back committed to learning Spanish. I stayed in touch with his family and many other Colombians who I met over the years, one of whom was the director of the short, who fell in love with the story since day one. Nearly everybody who contributed to the short in Colombia, New York, and Mexico were friends or family. Additionally, since the age of 15, I've worked a variety of jobs with Latino immigrants, whose stories I often took an interest in. I wrote the 130-page script of Quiubo Gringo last year over the course of 6 months while working as a CPA tax accountant in Miami. I became a CPA partly to take these artistic risks without implicating too much financially my mom and family, but I always knew I wanted to create a meaningful piece of art to be enjoyed by the world. Growing up, I was inspired by hip-hop artists and their classic albums that accomplished this. That all takes me to my current situation. I invested all my savings into the short, aiming to attract the resources to produce the full story of Quiubo Gringo at a bigger and better level. In the short, we didn't use cinema-level cameras, and all the audio came from simple lavalier mics like this one here. I desire to work at a higher production value, and any donation you give will go towards camera operators, sound specialists, editors, and all the other costs involved in making an epic movie, including filming permits and music licenses. And while my friends and family did great acting in the short, I'd love to fill out the full version with top-notch actors. The script also features cameos by Nicky Jam and Sofia Vergara, who I'd love to bring on in actuality. I plan to move to LA this summer, and maybe at some point I'll meet the producers who can help me realize Quiubo Gringo. However, I believe I'll have way more leverage in those conversations if I can show a strong grassroots support by raising a lot of money here from donors like yourself. So please trust that any amount you can donate will make an impact. And how awesome would it be to raise a boatload of money out here and not have to rely financially on outside powers? I'm currently accepting donations. Additionally, be on the lookout for an ambitious and innovative initiative leveraging new technologies that may provide utilities attractive to those who want to help me fund the film. For more information on everything, please visit my website, benwonar.com. I was inspired to make this crowdfunder by Lil Dicky, who kickstarted his music in a similar way. While he had a much bigger following when he crowdfunded, I thought I'd try this in any case to see if the internet might work its magic on me. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me, and thanks so much for watching.